at lunch.
You are looking live.
Live at lunch. Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
What the hell's going on out here?
Now, here's Jimmy Ott and Charles Hannegriff.
For some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Is it live? Is it live? Is it live? Is it live?
From Iverstein on Perkins Road near Essen, welcome to the Wednesday edition of Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Hannegriff, Jimmy Ott, Max Gotro. Jordan Kinch is back in the studio. Scott Rabelais with us in hour number 2. Wes Reynolds with us in hour number 2. We got golf picks today. We got baseball going on. And pretty big collapse in the NBA last night in the playoffs. But it is the week before Memorial Day. We got an early Memorial Day this year, next Monday.
Jimmy crept up on me yesterday. I didn't realize when we were asking where we're going to be tomorrow.
Yeah, because this is our place before major holidays.
Yeah, man. The hot dogs, man. The hot dogs over here at Iverstein Butcher are unbelievable, man. They just the house made. So look, it's not a lot of the garbage that you get on the your store-bought hot dogs. So it's really, I've had them before. They're really, really good. And man, they're a big crowd favorite. There's no doubt. So we're kicking off over here at Iverstein Butcher on Perkins, just off of Essen. Kicking off the summer with our hot dog franks made in-house by our butchers with pastured pork and grass-fed beef. We got the chili cheese dog at the menu at the restaurant, the slaw dog, and a classily dressed Chicago dog. That's Max's specialty, running all summer long. The links are also available at the butcher counter for Memorial Day cookouts, along with fresh-cut chops, steaks, steak burger patties, house-made sausages, your favorite smoking cuts, all your grilling items. It's a Thibodeau store, Pierre Part store kind of weekend. Get that green egg going, and this is a place to load up over here for a lot of grilling items here at Iverstein.
So LSU last night kept their season alive with a 6-2 win against Oklahoma. It did not start out real promising when 20 minutes before first pitch, William Schmidt, who had been held out of the weekend series so that he could pitch in this game, came up with back spasms and was scratched from his start. That meant that Grant Fontenot had to be pressed into duty to start the game for LSU. Turned out LSU got one of their best pitched games by multiple guys all Southeastern Conference season long. Fontenot, who essentially acted as an opener in this game, gave him 2 1/3 steady innings. And then Gavin Guidry, frankly, pitched better than he has pitched, I think, since the pre-conference portion of the schedule, going 3 1/3 innings and not giving up an earned run. Devin Sheeran, who has been kind of run hot and cold, was at his best last night, 6 strikeouts and no walks to finish it up in 3 1/3 innings. Oklahoma, who threw their own opener in Gavin Jones, he started out good, but when they went to the bullpen, got back to our old friend L.J. Mercurius, who was Oklahoma's Friday night guy for most of the regular season in the SEC, but has not pitched well. Skip Johnson, the Oklahoma coach, tried this a couple of weeks ago when he put an opener in front of Mercurius. That worked in that game. He pitched well. Did not work as well in this game. Mercurius didn't get blown up, but he did give up 2 runs in the 2 innings before they got him out of there. This game did not mean a whole lot to Oklahoma. They are in the tournament. They are going to be a 2 seed. They're going to have to travel. That was going to happen no matter what happened in this tournament. For LSU, they got a bunch of hits and a bunch of base runners. Unfortunately, they didn't score as many of them as you'd like. They left a ton of people on base. I think the total was 15 for the game. And, they could have blown this thing open a lot sooner than they did. Thankfully, they were able to get enough runs to keep Oklahoma at bay. Milam's 2-run homer in the 8th gave them some breathing room to get home and eliminate Oklahoma. So that's the good news. The bad news is that not only is William Schmidt done for this tournament, but I wouldn't count on seeing Omar Cerna again. Cerna, who had a hit in last night's game and scored 2 runs, slid into home and got his hand caught underneath the catcher's spikes. And if you saw the images from the dugout, you saw him after he was taken out of the game with a heavily bandaged hand. Jay Johnson said after the game that there was a ton of blood after that. So whether something is broken or the hand just ripped up, I'm not expecting. Maybe they'll be able to patch him up, but I wouldn't expect to see Cerna in this series again either. So it did come at a cost, but I think what Jay Johnson wanted to do, he really wanted to win one game in this tournament. Whatever happens after this, hey, it happens. Auburn is throwing one of their top 2 pitchers tonight. In Jake Marciano, who's got the top ERA among the starters. Andres Alvarez pitched a lot of Friday nights as well, but Marciano's one of their top guys. They're throwing him tonight. And Auburn is, in my opinion, one of the top 2 baseball teams in the SEC. I think Auburn and Georgia are both a touch better than Texas, especially once you get past Valanis on Friday night. So it's going to be tough to move on from here, but give them credit. They played, fairly well last night. It was a game that had a bunch of screwy stuff. They had 2 base running errors. It cost them. They made 2 errors in the field. Milam made an error, which almost never happens. And then you had the controversial call with the ABS, which is in an experimental mode for college baseball in this SEC tournament. And, Jimmy, you and I were talking about this play before the show today. The situation was this. Stephen Milam is at first base with 1 out and a full count to the batter. Milam takes off on the pitch. The pitch is called a ball. The catcher for Oklahoma throws down to second base. Milam, about 2/3 of the way down, hears ball 4 and does what you do in that situation, which is he lets up just a little bit. But when he sees the throw going down, he goes ahead and sticks his hand in there and gets in safe. Catcher immediately calls for an appeal. On the appeal, it's reversed from ball 4 to strike 3, which is the second out of the inning, and now the umpires have got to talk about this, about where Milam's going to be. Milam was safe. They showed the replay at second base, but with the ABS in play here, they discussed for a long time whether they should send him back to first. Ultimately, they let him stay at second base with 2 outs. Both coaches came out to get an explanation. I don't think either one of them was particularly pleased with how things went down. For Skip Johnson at Oklahoma, he wasn't pleased that Milam was able to keep second base, and Johnson wasn't real pleased that the catcher was able to throw down and then call for the appeal after ball 4 was called. So, Jimmy, you watch more MLB than I do. With the ABS system, this is one of those plays that you go, okay, maybe unintended consequences of the thing. They let Milam stay at second base on this call.
Yeah, I think it's a wrong call. I think that it's kind of like the same concept is when that whistle blows in football, it doesn't matter if you can scoop up the ball and run all the way to the end zone and things like that. Once it's called, the play is dead. And you don't want to, when the play is dead with a ball 4, as far as that runner advancing with ball 4, it's done. He can't get thrown out. He can't advance because it's deception on both parts. The ball 4, as soon as he calls ball 4, that's dead. He's got to advance if they maintain the call, or if they overturn it, he's got to go back because you're playing it. You don't even know it's live, and so the deception. And it's not because he advanced, not because he would have got thrown out, but it's because it's basically an inadvertent whistle. He's dead at that point. It's not different with an open base, but he's forced. He advances with the walk, so he goes back. I haven't seen this particular play called in Major League Baseball. I have seen the ball hits the outfield, outfielder traps it,
yeah,
and they call it out. Well, the runner's got to hold. And again, an outfielder will throw it. Then he's kind of caught in between. Well, you can't do it. You can't penalize the base runner based on deception. He's got to go with the call on the field at that time. So even though they reverse it, no, he's not out. Because he's safe. No, he gets the bag because it was deception there. And just the opposite. If he catches it and it calls it safe, and he's running, well, you can't double him up. So once that ball 4 is called, that runner, he's dead at that point, and you can. It depends on the call. It's ball 4, he gets it. No matter if they throw him out during a regular, and if he advances, he's got to go back. No matter if he advances safely, because it should stop all the plays.
MLB has the same rule as what they employed last night, which is up to the discretion of the umpires.
So they use discretion.
Yeah, that's why they gave him second base.
MLB says that if you challenge a pitch into strike 3 during a stolen base, the batter is out. However, the stolen base could stand unless the umpire determines the incorrect call directly impacted a fielder's ability to make the play.
Yeah, that's there you go.
Because if he had gotten thrown, out, it would have absolutely been because he pulled up on when he hears ball 4, which is the instinctive thing to do. It was a screwy play. It took a long time to talk about it.
If he's got the base stolen so easily, that's what they're talking about right there.
Yeah, and and I don't know if you can say that.
And I just
without him pulling up, I don't know what would the result of the play. I think he would have stolen the base, but I wouldn't bet my life on it if he doesn't pull up there. I mean, he got a good jump and everything. It was a tough call, and they spent a long time talking about it.
So he gets the rule interpretation is he gets free swing as far as stealing the base.
Yeah, in that case, that's how they ruled it.
He gets free swing,
and that's what took so long. Was looking at that. I really wonder if they had ruled him out because when he stutters, they've actually got a play now. Okay, so if they called him out, then what would the call have been? Then did they send him back to first?
Right. That's I mean, if he gets thrown out, Max, and he easily thrown out. But it doesn't penalize you there, right?
Yeah, it sort of says if the fielders were affected by the call. It doesn't say anything about the batters being affected.
No, we're talking about the base runner.
That's what I'm saying, or the base runner.
No, you said the batter. We're talking about the base runner.
It doesn't say anything about the offensive side of things. If the offense is affected by the ball 4 call, I haven't seen anything on that end yet.
Offense, you mean the hitting team, right?
The hitting, the base runner, Milam, same thing. Yeah.
We're talking about offense, defense. We're talking about the football portion of it.
Yeah. Again, this is part of the growing pains of, implementing the ABS system. And, it fixes a lot of calls, but it does bring up some other things, too.
I get, the guy's got it stolen. So the stolen base percentage is so much higher in Major League Baseball because they reduce the amount of it. So you're going to have the same rule for college where you have unlimited throws over to first?
Well, right now they're unlimited, but we didn't like that.
No, they got to change that. They have to change
that. That was a rule that we changed in Major League Baseball. It was like, and most of these rules to move the game along have worked. They've really helped.
You don't see it often, but, man, when a guy's thrown over there 4 or 5 times in between every pitch, come on, man.
Please, let's move along.
Nobody's there to see that.
No, for sure. We're here at Iverstein. Get your Memorial Day supplies right now.
Also, right around the corner is Father's Day also. And, you can come over here and just say, hey, I want $1 amount. We'll throw together a gift box for you and put different meats in there. Stuff to grill. You refrigerate or freeze it at home. You could do the rubs, marinades, seasonings as well, sauces, cutting boards, different jerkies, and gift cards if Dad wants to come pick out exactly what he wants to throw on the grill. So, and one of the cool things we're doing over here as well is Monday, Tuesdays, we have we're calling these the family bundles. And they're $35. And like Monday, Tuesday, you get a quart of red beans, a quart of rice, a pint of collard greens with hocks, and then a pound of green onion sausage. Wednesdays, it's a hamburger steak, the potatoes, green beans, And Fridays, it's the marinated pork chops, dirty rice, and broccoli. So what it does, it feeds a family of 4 and plenty of it. But all your sides are prepared, and you just got to cook, whether put in the oven or on the pan or on the grill. Do your protein. So you do the hamburger steak in the pan. You do your sausage either in the oven or on the grill. Pork chops, same thing, oven, grill, or on the stove. So it's real quick, and it is really, really good. It's you got them; they're already in the bag. You just pick it up, boom, check it out. It's a great thing over here at Iverstein too. I love to come over here on Sundays. About they close at 3 p.m. Early in the afternoon. Right before that, get my butcher burgers to throw on the grill, some steaks as well. The steaks are always popular over here, but in the ground meat, it's a kind of a 90 to 80. I'm sorry, 80-20 blend over here. Grass fed beef, and really, really good stuff. So, and they've got different seasonings to kind of to spice up your burgers in the grill as well. And today over here in the restaurant, Charlie, every Wednesday, $5 burgers. $5 burgers, very popular over here at Iverstein.
College baseball underway. Mississippi State leading Missouri 4-2 through 5. Tigers kind of hanging around there against Tomas Valenkas. We'll get you up to date on everything that's going on when we return live at Iverstein, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny.
Back here at Iverstein, live at lunch. Remember, the show's available on demand, 1045ESPN.com, LouisianaSports.net. Brought to you by Supreme Rice, celebrating 90 years in business here in 2026. Supporting our Louisiana farmers. Go to SupremeRice.com. We told you that Missouri hanging around with Mississippi State. It's 4-2. Bulldogs in the top of the 6th inning. Missouri's in the same boat as LSU. They got to, the next loss ends their season. They'd have to win out in this tournament to advance. State, a host site, a top 8 national seed. They'd have to make a deep run into this thing. They start today with an RPI of 12, so they would have to get.
I don't think even with winning it, they'd get a top 8, huh, Charlie?
It would be tough. It would be tough. They would have to. That would have to include some wins over, some RPI heavyweights.
Some help in other teams losing, too.
Yeah, I think right now they're projected as a 13 seed. So to get from 13 to 8, you'd have to really hustle. I agree with you. I don't think that
13 according to who?
They're 12 in the RPIs, 13 in the Baseball America did their projections this morning.
I think I saw D1 at the end of the weekend. They were lower than that. They were kind of on the bubble, right side of the bubble to host, but not a whole lot of wiggle room there.
They would need a whole bunch of help. Anyway, Missouri's hanging around here today, and Mississippi State did throw Tomas Valenkas, their ace, here in this Wednesday game.
This lefty number 4. That's it. That's him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. 7 strikeouts, no walks. He's given up 2 runs, only 1 earned in this game so far. Today.
A lot more scoring at the park, and I don't want to. A lot of times we discount some of these pitching performances at the Hoover Met in the SEC tournament, but not the case for LSU's kind of surprising performances on the mound last night, because this thing was, we talked about last year, 15-2 to the under, 3-1 overs yesterday, and they were not close, man.
And the lowest scoring game ends up being the LSU game, and you've got essentially two openers throwing that, and not exactly the deepest bullpens in the SEC, and they really held up. Whereas Kentucky threw their ace yesterday. They threw Jackson Jelkin. And
he didn't get hit hard, but it was, you would talk about, it was 2 outs, nobody on, a 4-1 lead. He gives up a single, a walk, and then RBI single, RBI single, RBI single, RBI single. 4, they chase him. They take the lead, 5-4. Reliever comes in, RBI single. 5 straight RBI singles, Charlie.
And you said none of them were hit hard, right? Or none of them were
no, just kind of, they were hit sharply, but on the ground through somebody. If they were hit right at the, a lot of them up the middle, but no. All singles, ground ball singles that easily scored the guy from second. So it's unbelievable. So the Vanderbilt hitter said that he thought it was more, they saw him. They've seen him before. Third time through the lineup, they were ready to get him. But no, nothing. One of those is hit right at an infielder.
Yeah.
Innings over. Just
So Nick Mingione, the head coach at Kentucky, had a decision to make in the final regular season series, and that was they thought at 12 wins they needed one win to get them in good shape to make the NCAA tournament. This was their series against Arkansas. So they decided to pitch backwards. They avoided the Arkansas ace, Doncic, forgot his
Dietz.
Dietz, excuse me. So they hold Jelkin. They're going to start him on Saturday against Arkansas's TBA. But they take a lead. They take a lead into the seventh inning, 4-2, and Mingione says, I'm going to go for it right here. I'm going to go win this game. I'm going to bring Jackson Jelkin out of the bullpen. He's going to nail this thing down. We're going to get our 13th win, and we're off to the races. We'll have 2 games, whatever. Well, Jelkin came in, did his job, got the win, and then the next 2 days they lose. After the loss yesterday, Baseball America's got them as the first team out. I think this is incredibly close. This could go a couple of different ways. I thought Kentucky was in. 13 SEC wins, decent RPI at 36.
Well, Mingione talked about it yesterday during the game with the in-game interview, and he talked about that decision. He says, "Look, that gave us our ninth win against either RPI top 10 or top 20, and that's against the nation's best." So he saw another one of those against Arkansas, and he wanted to bring him back in the first game. And he said that same thing in the post-game locker room. Well, they thought they had it won. 4-1 lead. They're cruising, and solo shot for State now 5-2 in the bottom of the sixth to lead off the bottom of the sixth. So he's politicking for his team. I get it, but he wasn't. So it was more that ninth top 10 win or top 20 win that he was looking at, where he brought in his closers and said, "No, I'm in position here to get one of these wins. I'm prioritizing everything this game. We'll worry about the other games later. I'm not so sure if I'll be in position to win a game, with my best pitcher, like he did in that first game over the weekend."
And I think, again, we really have to adjust our thinking now with a 16-team league about what will get you in as far as conference record into the NCAA tournament. We have held as a truth for years. 14 wins, you're absolutely in, and 13 wins, you're probably in. And with a 16-team league, we're seeing now that's just not the case, because if you play the bottom end of the league
right.
in multiple games, and Kentucky played South Carolina and Missouri and LSU, that's 14, 15, 16 in the league. Those are going to be, in a lot of cases, Q3 wins, even if you get them. And so I don't think we can just universally say that 13 to 14, because Vanderbilt's got 14 wins and they're out right now. We can't just universally say, get to 14 wins and you're good.
Well, there's more variance.
Yes.
Every team you add, you're lending yourself to more variance in the schedules.
Yeah.
I mean, you can only play 10 series. So it used to be there were 3 that maybe, they had the variance. That you everybody's not going to play 3. Now you're not playing 5. Now the chances to have, one team play, 2 or even 3 of the bottom 3, and that's the way it works this year. It's a bottom 3. It's a lot of times it's a bottom 2. Sometimes it might be a little bit different. But this year it's a bottom 3, and if you played all 3 and somebody played none of them, yeah, man, it's a big variance in schedules.
And I wonder if it will affect the thinking of how coaches schedule the 4 non-conference series. Because before, you could schedule whoever you wanted, okay? You make it there. And I'm going to use Vanderbilt as an example here. They tried. They played in 2 what you would call high-profile tournaments. They played in the tournament at Globe Life, TCU, Texas Tech, and Oklahoma State. But it turned out that Texas Tech was terrible this year. They ended up with a losing record. And then they played in the Las Vegas Classic, which LSU is going to play in next year, and they played Irvine, Arizona, and Oregon. That sounds good.
Still going to be
Irvine and Arizona were
it's still going to be
triple
tougher than what LSU played, even with the worst case scenario, which that's an extreme
Yeah.
I mean, of those teams to have the season that they're having.
For
I mean,
three of the six to have triple-digit RPIs.
Yeah, that's unusual.
Yeah.
But when you schedule these teams that are, D2 from the north, no chance of them getting any type of outdoor work until they, warm up on your field. That's just it's real simple to me. If football is different, but basketball and baseball. Man, you schedule. We're talking about LSU. We're talking about Mississippi State. We're talking about SEC programs.
Yeah.
We're talking about, the by far the best college baseball conference in the country. Schedule tough, dude. Push your teams unless you have so many young players, so many unproven players, and you're worried about their confidence level. These schools, the rosters they're putting together, these guys aren't lacking a whole lot of confidence. Yeah. And it's a dip. You lend yourself to sloppiness. You lend yourself to not taking your opponent seriously. And it just there's nothing to challenge and for you to improve upon. And listen, Jay Johnson is going to win way more national championships than me. Kim Mulkey, but I totally disagree with their non-conference schedules. You're not getting any better playing teams like that.
I would like to see it beefed up a little bit. I don't think you got to play 4 non-conference series against top-flight competition, but I think you need to play 2 at least of the 4 where you're going to see some name schools, where you're not going to see teams that are in 2 of those 4 series are not playing outside for the first time, have been practicing in a gym. I'll tell you,
both of them look like they weren't sharp when they started conference play.
No, it's absolutely. That's true.
I mean,
now, the counter argument is it was the exact same schedule last year. They won the national championship.
That's true.
So,
that's true. I get it. But,
Vanderbilt in Florida, second game today. Vandy got a win to keep their season going.
But maybe coming off a national championship, you might want to not let them challenge them where they will get alerted early because they were still winning all those games, a lot of them, earlier. Weren't they like in the first 9 in a row? Something like that?
The first 8 in a row.
8 in a row.
The thing was they played a bad team in Sacramento State and they lost. They lost the series.
Yeah, no doubt. Don't forget our friends at a Legacy Title, Chad Reynolds Legacy Title for all of your real estate closings. 296-0060, full-service title company servicing all of South Louisiana. Our great team will execute your deal seamlessly. Ashley Donald, Adrian Galata, Michael Platt, Mariana Haynes, Natalie and Bradford Smith, buying, building, refinancing. Nobody chooses but you. Choose Chad Reynolds, a Legacy Title, 296-0060. Purdue has gotten on the board. They at Charles Schwab in Omaha, 2-1 in an elimination game, a 2-run single in the bottom of the 8th over Illinois. And Mississippi State now, bases loaded, already a solo shot in the to start the bottom of the 6th. Bases loaded, 1 out. They're up 5-2 over Missouri.
Trying to break that game wide open in Hoover. Live at Iverstein, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny.
We return here at Iverstein on Perkins Road, just off of Essen. Come on by and see us for lunch. You get all your Memorial Day supplies here at Iverstein. I saw during the break, Jimmy, I saw Kenny Atkinson. He had 2 bags. He had one that was full of the Peppa Pig burgers, which I am getting as soon as we're finished here. It's really good. And the other bag had all of his timeouts that he didn't use last night when the Knicks were coming from 22 down. He said, I like to hold my timeouts. I didn't want to have one timeout at the end of the game. I tried to hold them. He held them all the way home.
Should have called one also when Harden hit the shot with, to put him up 2 with, 20 seconds, 15, 20 seconds, whatever it was, because, get Harden off of Brunson. My goodness. Get him out the
game. How many times did he go around him? In that fourth quarter.
They targeted him. I think the most he's been targeted on pick and roll was 20 times was the most all season. In the fourth quarter in overtime alone, he was targeted 21 times in the pick and roll.
They scored every time but 2? Or every time but 3?
It was they ran the same play.
18 or 19 out of 21, I think it was, that they scored on the possession.
And that was the difference. Look, they also, we got to go back to what we were talking about before the game. The rust versus rest. and it was like 19-2 the last time teams coming off a sweep against a team that's coming off a 7-game series. So that would lend itself to extended days. This was 9 days. And, I like to pick on the Knicks a little bit because, they're just so overdone. But it was obvious they were pretty damn rusty. I mean, it was a 40 minutes of rust, and it was the last 8 minutes of regulation and 5 minutes of overtime were rest, because when they got close, Cavs were dead. Their legs were absolutely dead. But you still got to try and the other thing was, I'm thinking,
all the more reason to call timeout.
For 40 minutes, I think they went on a 19-1 run when he called his first time out. It was 19-1. I mean, they had basically taken off 18 of the 22 points of the lead. I still thought when Mobley hit that three with about 3 minutes to go, I think they put him up like 8 or 6. I thought they had it. I really did. But, I mean, over and over. I mean, how about trying to fight through a screen instead of like just obliging? What's the guy's name? Is Wade? D. Wade? What's his name?
Dean Wade.
Dean Wade. Dude, fight through the pick. It's like he's like he was on the Knicks. Like, okay, let's switch. I mean, they're obviously trying to, we're going to switch where we get Brunson, Harden on Brunson. And I mean, a layup, a 4-footer, a 13-footer, a 7-footer. How about the shot to tie the game at the end of regulation? How easy was that?
Yeah.
I mean, so just and look, all this when I had the Knicks minus 6.5. Okay, I felt like I stole some. I mean, this was a horrible handicap. And as far as the coach, what's it, Kenny Gaddison with Atkinson. Wasn't he a finalist for the Pelicans job? Or consideration?
A while ago.
Right, I know.
Not this time.
I get that. No, you're not getting him out. No, I get that. But previously, man, this guy did a hell of a job for 88 minutes. He coached circles around Bickerstaff in Game 7 of dinner. He coached circles around Brown last night for the first 40 minutes. And you got to finish, dude. I mean, what do you want to do? What, as a coach, what is one thing that Belichick and Saban want? Man, we're going to eliminate option A. We're going to take option A away from you. No matter if it's this guy, whatever, we're going to take it away. How many times do you have to see option A? We're going to run a pick and roll. Y'all going to switch, and then we're going to have Harden on Brunson. Harden was so dead. I mean, this was easy shots, and just allow him to do it over and over and over. Gaddison went to talk about the luck. Part of it last year in the Knicks collapse in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals was bad luck. What was the bad luck? Halliburton shot that hits the front iron and bounces straight up. The multi-iron glass 3 from Landry Shamet was the luck. That was the one luck shot of it. But this was more, like we talk about the golf. Did Aaron Rodgers win it? Did everybody lose it? Did this team win it? Did this team blow it? A lot of times when you lose when you're such in position to win like this, 99.8, whatever, win percentage, whatever, you're allowing your team a chance to come back. And that's what the Cavaliers, and that's what Gaddison did last night.
Defending coach of the year, by the way, Atkinson.
I will take him right now over what we got, with the Pelicans. No doubt. Man, he did a great job. A great job. He did a great job in Detroit. I mean, that's 88 straight minutes. I mean, Karl Anthony Towns, one of the big things in the first series, right? He's going to run point. Did you see them defend it? They had no chance of scoring. They defended the rim. So many things. Why is Allen not in the paint at the end to try and help? Where is just to allow them to run the same play over and over? He had a horrible stretch, but that's the thing. When we get on guys, we don't kill guys with no ability. We kill guys with ability. He's a really good coach who just had a horrible stretch to end the game last night.
So when you blow a lead like this, and this has only happened one time in NBA history with this points with this amount of time, 22 points, 7:50 remaining. You got to have
NBA
multiple
playoff history.
Playoff history,
Yeah.
You got to have multiple things go wrong. If Atkinson calls the timeout, do they win? I don't know, but obviously he should have. I think everybody in the building except him, I think, thought that. And the inside the NBA guys pounded on it in the post game. The second thing is Harden and his defense. Well, that was obvious to see. I mean, Brunson abused him. But how much of this do we have to also put on Donovan Mitchell, who did not score from 8 minutes in the game?
Saw the one time he got
way.
his hands on the ball?
Remind me.
So one of the things they're talking about is the amount of running clock, running clock. And we talk about that all the time. When you start protecting lead too early, all right? Well, the one time where he shot, and it was a rush shot. It was when they had the 6-point lead. They had the 6-point lead at 99-93. It was on the Allen tip in with 1:51 to go. Mikal Bridges from the right corner. And how about him? They beat up on him all the time. He has been really clutch, and when it counts the most in playoffs, steals, threes, whatever it is. He makes a three. Mitchell gets the ball. And with 11 seconds on the clock, he could kind of forces a mid-range jumper from about 15, 16 from kind of the right wing. Ugly shot. The only time they kind of let him handle the ball. He didn't go get it. They didn't work it for him. And when you're struggling, you want to try and drive to the goal as well. But he rushed the shot, and that led to the Shamet that was right in the middle of the 2 threes that went from 6 to tied.
Yeah, and I don't – Atkinson deserves his share of the blame, and so does Harden. But Mitchell's their leading scorer by a lot. You can't disappear for 13 minutes and not score. I mean, it's a superstar
I think
league.
that's the only shot he took.
Yeah, you got to find a way to score if you're the dude, okay?
No, I'm sorry.
And he's the dude, and he goes 8 minutes of regulation and 5 minutes of overtime without scoring.
No. He missed the layup that Allen tipped in.
Okay.
Also,
yeah.
he shot his two attempts were both misses with 152 and 120, 152 and 101 to go.
Something else you might have talked about during a timeout, which is, hey, get the ball to our dude. You know.
Do you think he was tired?
Well, he said no, but yeah, of course I think he was tired. But he's still my dude. They're all tired. Okay.
Shot twice and missed in the last 2 minutes regulation.
I'm gonna die with my boots on. He
shot it
twice in 13 minutes.
No, well, he shot it twice in a minute, less than a minute.
In that one.
In
minute.
the biggest spot.
I'm not going to say it's the only reason they lost. Again, the timeout.
No. Where was he till that point? You know.
Yeah, I mean, you got to. How many times we say, this guy needs the touches? Okay, this is my guy. I want him shoot. If he goes 0 for 8. Okay, I can live with that. Okay, my dude. One of the biggest reasons I'm here just didn't hit shots that day, but I got to get him the shots. Even if I got to call timeout and say, get Donovan Mitchell involved here, get him to the goal, get screen for him, get him a look, get something. I can't. My superstar can't disappear for that long in a playoff game. So I think some of it's got to be there. Not all of it, but some of it has got to be there.
And then Harden makes a shot. With 30 seconds to go to give him the lead, the 2-point lead.
And I think that was the only points that he scored in the last 8 minutes. They were, or the only field goal that he made. They were combined in the last 8 minutes of regulation, 1 for 10 from the field, or last 7:50 of regulation, 1 for 10 from the field. And with 2 turnovers, and they missed all 5 of the 3 points.
Another thing that they do poorly that allows teams, and because they seem on paper, and I know the odds makers loved when they picked up Harden. I mean, they tightened up the division odds and everything else when the Pistons got like a 9-game lead, and all of a sudden they won like their first 8 or 9 games in a row. So give them that, but they're 2 for 6 for the line too. Yeah, coming down the stretch.
Yeah,
including Harden. So the only thing I say about Harden giving him the ball at the end, defend a little bit. When you are in milk clock, when you want to milk the clock, and he can. You could start your offense with 5 seconds to go, and he's going to get off a decent shot. I'll say that. Now, you tell me Mitchell can't? Maybe I got to think Mitchell was a little surprised and also forgot him, but he did shoot twice in that minute, and that was the biggest stretch. When they, a 6-point lead, the tip in with six, to put them up 6 was, and then they hit back-to-back threes.
You felt good about, you felt like you stole something. How do you think the Cavs batters felt last night? You got a 22-point lead and you're catching 6.5 with 8 minutes to go. I'm feeling pretty good. I've already cashed that ticket in my head.
How many chances did you have to hedge to middle?
I didn't have either one, by the way.
Okay, but I mean, you. I'm sorry. There's never been a bad beat. You got a whole overtime. If you can't see right there that your 6.5 is in danger at the end of regulation with about a 10-minute break.
Yeah,
you ain't paying attention.
There's
some things in the NBA that are going too fast. Okay, well, that 19-1 run, well, there's no break. There's no breaks in the clock. Okay, they didn't call timeout. All right, I get that. But if you just sit there, you're just not, because you got a middle. You get late 3.5. You get late 3.5.
In this case, I'm with you on that. We're brought to you by the Thibodeau Store, the Pierre Parts Store. Take advantage of the Memorial Day sale online at thethibodeaustore.com. You're looking for, hey, listen, this is prime grilling season, Memorial Day, this weekend. If your barbecue pit is kaput from last year, ready for a new one, save big time on the Brawl Kings and other in the grill section of the ThibodeauStore.com. Also on lawn and gardening equipment, weed killer fertilizer, aluminum garden tool sets, all of that on special right now for Memorial Day. Patio furniture, poolside furniture available on special right now. Outdoor power equipment, cordless power tools. They got sales going. Deals of the week here from Do It Best at thethibodeaustore.com. 900 St. Patrick Highway in Thibodaux and at Highway 70 in Pierre Part. Now open in LaRose and Lockport with lumber delivery available throughout the region from both Lockport and Pierre Part if you're doing some construction this summer. Check it out online. It's thethibodeaustore.com here for Memorial Day weekend. Live at Iverstein, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny.
Return here at Iverstein, getting ready for Memorial Day. Missouri hung tough as long as they could, but the roof caved in the 6th inning. 8 runs for Mississippi State. They lead it 12-2.
It's over.
Yes.
No, it's over.
Run rule. Okay.
Yeah. 5-4-3 double play to end the game.
Next game, Vanderbilt in Florida. Florida will throw Aiden King, who yesterday was named, as we predicted, SEC pitcher of
the year. He did get it?
Yeah, he got it. Yeah. So you got some picks. You've been rolling here a little bit. We got some day games starting at noon.
Yeah.
MLB.
6-0 if you want to count in a little throw in with 7-0. But we just I just threw them in as a parlay, wasn't an official pick. But we have hit. It does help to hit a walk-off 3-run homer by Ketel Marte for the Diamondbacks last night. And we're going to ride the Diamondbacks today. That goes at 2:30. But I am going the team that I'm going to run. I'm just getting honest prices, Charlie. They had 7 guys last year on their roster that had 25% or higher whiff rate, strikeout rate at the plate. They got rid of 6 of them. They're the number 1 batting average team. They're number 2 on-base percentage team. They got a good team ERA as well. The Rays, the 32-15. The 32-15. We're looking for a sweep. They're underdog today. In some spots. I'm taking Tampa Bay in the early one. Taking the Twins as well, going on at 12:40. So those 2 games go at 12:10 and 12:40.
All right, we got that. Second game in the SEC is Vanderbilt and Florida, followed by Tennessee, Arkansas, and then LSU and Auburn. Live at Iverstein here on Perkins, just short of Essen. Live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Enjoying the finer things in life is his forte. Let's bring in Scott Rabelais from The Advocate.
We're here at Iverstein on Perkins Road, just off of Essen. Can't you see with that little drink, emoji or whatever? Rabbit, Memorial Day barbecue, picnic, enjoying the finer things in life.
I saw something that up Rab's alley, but it was an old Sports Center commercial where they showed Arnold Palmer making his own Arnold Palmer.
Oh yeah, they're watching like, oh look,
yeah.
got his lemonade.
Had his caddy, making sure he got it right when other people just it was actually Stuart Scott was in it.
Oh, God bless. Yeah.
But we're over here at Iverstein Butcher again, man. People, it's always busy over here on Wednesday. It's $5 Burger Day over here at Iverstein. But also, the Peppa Pig Burger is the feature burger today. 4-ounce smash patty, pepper jack boudin ball, Gouda cheese, jalapeno mayo, lettuce, mayonnaise, and on a brioche bun. So how about that, Charlie? We got a Chicago dog that Galen is going to prepare for us so we can sample over here. It's dog weekend, man. Getting dogs over here at Iverstein and getting them from the butcher to throw on the grill for the Memorial Day weekend.
Rav, how you doing, man?
I'm great. I love that is one of my favorite This is Sports Center things. That one and the Swedish Chef one.
There was so many good ones. One of the best ad campaigns. One of the best ad campaigns ever. All right, I got a few different topics to go over with you. Let's start with Will Wade and the signings or the reported signings of players here in the last couple of days with, well, let's just say significant professional experience or having signed professional contracts. R.J. Lewis it's Lewis, right, Max?
I've heard both.
Okay, Lewis. This kid was the player of the year for St. John's in the Big East 2 years ago. Last year, he really didn't play. He was signed to a two-way contract by Utah. He was on a G League team but didn't play for them. He played some preseason games for the Celtics, the Boston Celtics. And now Will Wade's taking a swing to see if he can, find a friendly judge that will let him play. We went through this with Charles Bediako at Alabama, and the NCAA's stance on this is pretty clear, but they may not have the final say. So between that and the other players that he has signed with professional experience in Europe, it's open season on Will Wade again. Lane Kiffin said, look, it's like they meet in the athletic department. Lane Kiffin says, I'll take the heat for a couple of weeks, and then you go be the bad guy for a couple of weeks. We'll just take turns wearing the black hat. Scott, what do you make of what has happened in the news of the last 24 hours?
And Kim Mulkey is always warming in the bullpen, right?
Right. He's always available. That's it.
Yeah, no kidding.
Good point.
I'm not in favor of these guys who have signed pro contracts coming back to play college basketball. I don't think Will Wade is breaking new ground or breaking new rules or something like that. Maybe like you mentioned the Bediako thing this past season at Alabama. Now this guy Salou Niang, who's committed to play at LSU, he's in the Italian league. North Carolina went after him as well, according to our story by T.J. Brown, our basketball beat writer. So I don't see Jeff Goodman going after North Carolina.
Yeah, it would have been fine if North Carolina would have gotten him. I get it.
I guess, yeah. So, it's just, I don't like these things, but I don't, at the same time, I don't think Will Wade is making college basketball more of a cesspool than it is or it has been, I think he's trying to build a roster, and he's trying to push the envelope and see if it'll work. I mean, I'd love to know Will Wade's mind and say, you really think you're going to get Luis to play? You're really going to get him on the court this November? Or this just taking a flyer? I don't know, but I'm not in favor of it. But I also don't think all the vitriol for Will Wade is warranted. It's just like you said, it's open season on him, and then it'll be Lane Kiffin again sometime later this summer. And then they'll probably go back and forth, and Kim Mulkey will chime in at some point as well.
I don't think that you should be able to sign a professional contract in the United States and still play college basketball. I'm with you there. But, and I don't want to speak for Will Wade, but if I had to guess what he would say.
Niang is different? You feel like Niang is different?
Well, the reason it's different with Europeans is there's no college basketball over there. These kids are signing professional contracts in their mid-teens. So if I say that if you sign a professional contract in Europe, you can't ever play college basketball, I may be telling 16 and 17-year-olds they can't go to school in the United States. You got to be a little bit careful there. Now, an age limit of 24, if they go 5 for 5 and say there's an age limit of 24, I could probably get on board with that. But there's a big difference between professional basketball in the United States and professional basketball in Europe. I mean, a vast difference. And so until they recognize that, my guess is that Will Wade would say, listen, this kid might get eligible. I didn't think Bediako should have been eligible. I don't think Trinidad Chambliss should have been eligible. And I don't think R.J. Luis should be eligible. But I don't get to make that decision. So if he's got an outside shot to get a kid that was the best player in the Big East from 2 years ago, if he gets him in front of a friendly judge and he can make this work within the confines of the law, take your swing. I mean, I get it. I don't think he should be eligible, but again, that's not my call. We'll see.
That's a good point. And, I would bring up golf references, but there have been many cases over the years, many cases of guys who weren't professional regaining their amateur status and being allowed to play in major amateur golf tournaments like the U.S. Mid Amateur or the U.S. Amateur or something like that. I mean that has happened many times. So this is not unprecedented in sport. I would say it's probably unprecedented in college basketball. And of course, it's looking like LSU's going to have a very whoever's on it is going to be a lot of older guys. I mean, it's going to be an Indiana Hoosiers football type roster, with the older players on it. And I'm not sure that's fair either. But again, like I said, I feel two ways about it. Like you, Charlie, you and I often have similar minds. Jimmy, I don't know what he thinks, but just kidding, Jimmy. But it's you're pushing the limits, but it's a free for all right now, man. It's all. No one wants to have any rules about anything. There's always talking now about the SEC. We have the SEC meeting next week. We're going to cover. They're going to talk about possibly breaking away along with the Big Ten. Because the basic, one of the things is the money, the revenue sharing they set up is not enough now. It's like, well, you set up these rules, and now you want to break these rules. It's like, I kind of throw my hands up at the whole situation, and I don't. In one way, if I understand Will Wade doing this, if he doesn't want to be hamstrung by any restrictions, self-imposed restrictions, that someone else is going to do what he's doing. I'm not saying it's good.
It seems that this has happened already, and this is why it's puzzling, because they've ruled already in a very similar case with the Alabama player.
Yeah, but that was an Alabama judge. I mean,
different judges, you get different results. Exactly.
And Charlie, and you can have your interpretation. You think that European professional ball is different from American. A judge can have completely the opposite interpretation.
Right. Did we not just watch the tennis teams just finish their runs? How many professional tennis tournaments did some of the LSU players play in this season?
That's kind of the same as what baseball used to be, as far as there was no penalty for transfer 30 years ago from a college baseball to one program to the other. It was kind of relaxed. So it's relaxed in that case. Yes, you can go play in a several. That's why the women were underseeded at 9. They were considerably better than 9, but their roster was compromised because some of their key players were playing in professional tournaments in some of the key matches during the regular season.
Could you imagine if an SEC basketball player said, hang on, I got to skip this week in February to go play for Italia or somebody?
Charlie, it's very common in high school athletics. You go play your club team, so you're playing for your high school team.
Yeah.
Very common.
Yeah. Scott, let's switch subjects. You were at the softball regional. LSU was impressive there. They go in as big underdogs in Tuscaloosa. What kind of a puncher's chance do you give them?
I think a decent one. I mean, Alabama is the number 1 overall national seed. You know, they're like 52-7. They didn't play during the regular season of the SEC tournament. That was just one done in the softball tournament. But a comparable team. You know, Oklahoma. They took a game off of Oklahoma in the series. It was in Baton Rouge, and they're a top 5 national seed as well, and could have beaten them a second game. Could have very easily won the series. So I think a puncher's chance. LSU's had a track record of going on the road and winning super regionals under Beth Serena over the years. Obviously, they haven't. Everybody knows they hadn't been to the College World Series in 9 years. But they showed. You know, one thing they showed. I think this is helpful. They showed some great defense. I hope y'all saw Alex Franklin's catch at the wall Sunday.
Yes, I saw the highlights. Final. Yeah, I did.
Yeah, it made the Sports Center top 10, and they've got some. The defense has been pretty good, and then they showed great depth of pitching. You know, 3 different starters: Jaden Heavner, CeCe Salur, and Peyton Monticelli. They all started. They didn't have to bring somebody back on 1-day rest or something like that. So I think that bodes well for them. That if someone gets in a little trouble, that they can go to another pitcher. But I don't know anything about Alabama, obviously, other than they have a really stellar record, and like I said, the number 1 overall national seed. Yeah, I give them a shot. I think this team is they're playing better at the right time. They played pretty well down the stretch of the season. Had that 25-0 blowout of Auburn, and then played very well in the regional. 23-2. Outscoring the 3 teams in the regional. So this is obviously a step up in class, but I give them a shot. Probably won't win, but not 50%, but I'd give them a shot.
Next week you get to go on your annual beach vacation to Destin. I'm going to put you on the spot.
There we go.
I'm going to put you on the spot. If you get the first question for Greg Sankey, what would you ask? You get one question to lead off the session. What would you most want to ask Greg Sankey?
Oh, boy. Charlie, God, you ask such good questions. If you want to send a writing question, I will ask because it'll probably be better when I come over. The first thing I want to ask him about is, have you and the SEC changed your opinion on college football playoff expansion? They've been talking 16. The Big Ten is pushing for 24, and they can't because they're at an impasse or have been at an impasse. The playoff is staying at 12 teams once again this year. But now Sankey, went on the Feinbaum show yesterday and Monday and said, hey, I remember, what they want. They might go to 24. What we want. Obviously, this can be a huge point of discussion, and obviously he can steer that discussion any way he wants. I think it's. I think 24 is too many. Yeah, I think 16 is a nice round number. I don't think a team that goes 8-4 in the SEC and overall, say Florida. Florida, goes 5-3 in the SEC and they lose to Florida State, but they beat Miami and they got a really good strength of schedule and all that stuff. They don't deserve a shot at the national championship in college football. It's not like basketball with a 3 seed like LSU women can win the tournament, and then you don't really bat an eye that much. So, but it's obviously a lot of money. Now they don't want to part with the conference championship game, but they probably would have to in this case. And if you replace the money from the conference championship game, then it becomes much more palatable for the SEC because they have the most profitable conference championship game.
He sounded a lot different yesterday than he did last week. And Tony Petitti, the commissioner of the Big Ten, came out and said, we are committed to 24, and there's what's your backup plan? Our backup plan is to stay at 12. We ain't voting for 16. And then Sankey yesterday on Feinbaum said, what you hear next week is a lot of our coaches and ADs probably think that 24 is the right direction. So that's a very different stance than what he had a week ago at that thing at the Alabama Sports Hall of Fame when he was pushing back on a lot of those ideas. He sounded like he was kind of wavering yesterday. So I would have asked the same question as you, Scott, and I'm anxious to hear Sankey answer it next week.
I mean, maybe to refine that question, what has made you change your position or change your tone on this? I think like I said, I'm not for 24, but I think just the practicality of it. If the SEC gets what they want to hear in terms of automatic qualifiers, SEC is guaranteed this number of slots in the playoff every year. I think they'll go for it.
Scott, enjoy your Memorial Day and enjoy your trip to the beach. And we will talk to you next week from sunny day. You'll be in Destin by Wednesday, right?
I'll be there Monday. I'll be there
Monday. Okay.
I'll be having a steam with.
Yeah.
I'll be having a steam with Will Wade.
Yeah.
Monday afternoon.
Yeah, because he's going to be there. The football and basketball coaches should be quite a week. Thanks, Scott. Have a good weekend.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Don't forget our friends at Go Chevrolet in LaPlace, Go Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Plaquemine, Go Chevrolet West in Plaquemine, and Go Ford in Waveland. The Go Automobile dealership family here in the South area. Lee Carney, Nick Richard, great guys. When I was in the market for a new vehicle, I called Lee and went and ordered a Chevy Tahoe, and we got together on the website and ordered exactly what I wanted. So you can go to our website and see for pre-owned inventory. You can check out our new and pre-owned inventory on our websites as well. And if we don't have it, we will use our nationwide resources to get you exactly the pre-owned vehicle that you are looking for. Mention my name for mention my name for VIP pricing. Concierge Service Department, you've heard me talk about my experience there. Unbelievable. It's super convenient with their Concierge Service Department. They'll bring you a loaner, exchange your car, bring your car in, evaluate it, relay the work that it needs to be done for your approval. You can pay right over the phone, and we'll return it to you, your office or your home when we are done as well. You cannot ask for any more convenience from their Concierge Service Department. Go Chevrolet in LaPlace. Go Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Plaquemine. Go Chevrolet West in Plaquemine. And go Ford in Waveland.
Live at Iverstein. Live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny. From east, north to south, but we're heading west. It's Wes Reynolds from VSiN. East, north to south, but we're heading west. It's Wes Reynolds from VSiN.
Wes, how you doing, buddy?
I'm well, Jimmy. How are you?
Doing great. Your thoughts on the PGA, how the course played, and Aaron Rye winning. To me, is it just me? But is the PGA the redheaded stepchild that's going to get beat up? It's damned if it does, damned if it doesn't, so to speak. But your thoughts, all the conversation, and just, man, a bomb in Aaron Rye.
Well, look, I like that the course played a little bit more difficult than we all thought it was going to play, I think, when you have 9 under par winning the thing and 6 unders in second. But the one thing I didn't like, they want to try to penalize, I think, being errant off the tee, clearly. But it felt like if you just missed, like if you were like 2 or 3 yards off and in the rough, you got penalized more than if you were like 30 yards off your target, like Cameron Smith was, because that guy's all over the place off the tee, and he was right there in the mix there late on Sunday. So, I think that if you're going to do that, I think you either got to grow out the rough like the U.S. Open does, like you know what you're getting, right? You get that first cut, you get that intermediate, and then you get the jungle if you're really in the deep stuff. And, they didn't really do that, I don't think, necessarily. So there was a little bit of inconsistency, but I didn't think it was a bad venue. But maybe they cut a few too many trees down, and it's like, you want to reward accuracy, and it ended up that one of the more accurate drivers on the tour did win, which is Aaron Rye, who's a very good player, but not a guy that I think was on a lot of people's radar. And got to give him credit. Like, he took the thing. Like, nobody gave it to him. You go out and shoot 6 under your last 10 holes on a Sunday in a major, you're probably going to win most of the time.
Yeah, where everybody else was struggling, there's no doubt about that. So the Byron Nelson and of course Scheffler here, Spieth here, they're coming back to their home course in the Dallas area.
Yeah, they are, and Scotty plus 175-ish in the market. And keep in mind, of course, he won this by 8 shots last year, 31 under par, and he is serious about being here. Like, he lives in Dallas. He's Dallas native. That's where he and his family are, and so he always wants to win these events. Just in Dallas and then Fort Worth next week in the Colonial. So that's why you have him so short here. Even though he struggled with that putter last week a little bit at Aronimink, he still struck the ball, I think, relatively solidly. But so the way I approached it, and I usually don't do this, I went in the without market this week because it feels like even if he doesn't have a day game, he could potentially beat this field because this isn't a deep field because it's in a tough spot in the schedule, really, because you're in between majors and signature events. You have another signature event with the Memorial at Jack's Place in a couple weeks. So it's kind of week off for a lot of the guys, but not for Scotty, certainly.
Who's your picks in the without market?
Yeah, I started with another guy that's a local. He actually is in Plano, and that is Pearson Coody, the grandson of Charles Coody, the former Masters champion, and who won this event, I think, 62 years ago. His grandfather did. He's cooled a little bit from the hot start where he was runner-up at Farmers, top 10 in Phoenix, but only Scheffler in this field ranks better for birdie or better percentage. And I still think you're going to have to make a lot of birdies here, and the scoring is going to be relatively low, even though they did try to make the course a little bit tougher. Like, they rebuilt all the bunkers, they changed a lot of the greens, repositioned some of the tee boxes. So they want Lanny Watkins, who was the guy that was in charge of the renovation, was like, we want this to be 12 to 15 under as the winning score. And I think that's probably a bit overly ambitious. But, I think you're going to have to make a lot of birdies here, and Coody can certainly do that. Asking Michael Brennan, who won last fall debut at the Bank of Utah Championship on the PGA Tour. Second stroke gained off the tee, third off distance, and these are pretty wide fairways, too, so they're pretty gettable from that standpoint. You can kind of bomb the way off the tee. And then a guy I hadn't played in a while who is also a Dallas native actually qualified for the U.S. Open on Monday and final qualifying there at the Dallas Athletic Club. Tom Kim, who he was kind of all the rage like 2-3 years ago, where he was almost top 10 in the world. And then he had an awful year last year, but he's shown some more consistency with 2-6 at Myrtle Beach a couple weeks ago, second with the irons with his approach game. So good frame of mind getting in that U.S. Open, getting that out of the way. And, has been playing some solid golf of late, as has Jordan Smith, the Englishman, 50-1 in the without market, top 10 in this field on approach and in tee to green, trying to get in that U.S. Open as well. He's 71st in the golf rankings, got to be in the top 60 as of June 9th if you want to get into that U.S. Open and not have to qualify. Steven Yeager, 51, shared the lead after the first round last week. The PGA ended up 18th, but with fourth in greens in regulation, 19 putting, 11th in ball striking. Austin Eckroat, another one, kind of above 60-1 in the without market. Runner-up here at the 2023 Byron Nelson, third in the field on approach. And then the two kind of long bombs, Dae-King Do, otherwise known as Marty Do, who lives there in Dallas. 88-1, I saw him, I think it's DK. Finished this year in 2023, 54-hole leader. Very good on approach, top 5 in this field with the irons. Then Johnny Vegas, 100-1, who was 44th last week at the PGA, but was second for tee to green and second green for regulation. So you can guess why he finished 44th. He was dead last in putting. So I think he'll like these greens a little bit better. They're a little bit more of a smooth true roll on the bent grass, not as many contours, not as many kind of bumpy spots as you saw at the PGA. He's got a couple good finishes here on this course at Craig Ranch.
Wes, what your thoughts on the game last night, the Cavaliers and the Knicks?
Man, it feels like if you're taking an under, man, you need some overtime insurance on this. Fortunately, I didn't have it Monday night, but I did have the under last night that missed by a hook. The Knicks, look, they're usually blowing these big leads instead of making big comebacks. But, man, because I was very surprised because usually that team that has the rest, we know the trends have been very positive for that home team in game one in this series. And the Knicks had a big rest advantage, hadn't played in like well over a week. And Cleveland, I thought, was the better team for most of the game. And then the Knicks just came back like Harden wasn't very good offensively and was just getting cooked on defense by Jalen Brunson. Kenny Atkinson's going to have to make an adjustment to see if they got anybody that can guard Jalen Brunson because James Harden absolutely cannot live up to that task.
I think Atkinson did a hell of a job for 88 minutes and a horrible 13 minutes. You know, we're talking about Game 7 in Detroit and then also the first 40 minutes last night. And just to allow them to just, okay, Brunson, they're going to switch off of D Wade. And, I mean, it's just over and over. And the level of shots. It's a bad matchup, but he was also spent. I mean, and then when you saw in overtime, the rest started to take over. For 40 minutes, it was rust. For the last 13, it was rest. So it was a bigger factor. So do you think Cleveland could bounce back, though? Or, I mean, are they just damaged goods after blowing that lead last night?
I don't think they're going to win the series. I think they'll win at least a couple games, though, because the Knicks are going to nick. Like, that's what they always do. We recall that in the playoffs last year in that series with the Pacers where they get a big lead, and they're going to blow, and they blow a game. Like, they're going to at least have one of those at some point this series where it's like they're in control, and then all of a sudden them threes stop going down. Like the Knicks throughout these playoffs, especially in that Philadelphia series, they've shot like the vintage Splash Brothers, like Curry and Thompson with the Warriors all those years ago. It's like these guys can't miss. You know, when is the regression going to come? At some point it is. It kind of did for most of the game. Last night, they couldn't hit an outside shot like none of the guys really could consistently. And then all of a sudden, they started getting the loss their way and bounced back and went ahead and not only won but covered in overtime.
Zigzag in effect tonight, and you see that line climb a little bit. Oklahoma City opened up 6.5. They're now 7.5. The higher-seeded team that drops the first game of the series. It's a big, very profitable angle, but unless Wembanyama's going to have limited minutes tonight, I mean, I don't know who you like tonight with OKC minus 7.5 over San Antonio game 2.
I think that one move, Jimmy, is probably right. The way I went ahead and played it, I played it under San Antonio team total at 105.5. Because if you look, that game was really low scoring until it got to overtime and obviously went over. Like they weren't even in the hundreds in regulation. So these are two of the best defensive teams. The Thunder are the best defensive team. And it's tough to lay that against Wemby now because I was making the observation the other night. We hadn't had an American MVP in the NBA since 2018. Well, guess what? We're not going to have it for a few more years as long as that guy stays healthy. But I think Oklahoma City does bounce back. They obviously need more out of Chad. We know this is going to be a tough matchup for him, I think, pretty much all series. And I want to see Oklahoma City from that perspective try to get SGA some shots where he doesn't have to necessarily go ISO ball all the time. You know, move the ball around a little bit. Play him a little bit off the ball when you have one of those other guards playing with him like A.J. Mitchell or McCain, and get him some shots that way where it's not just the foul baiting and it's not just the one-on-one, because that's going to be tough for him against San Antonio because they've got so many good defenders on the ball.
Follow Wes on Twitter at WesReynolds1. Great stuff, Wes. We appreciate it. Good luck to you this week.
You bet, guys. Thank you.
Charlie, don't forget our friends over at United Community Bank, the local way to bank big, with locations from Baton Rouge to Golden Meadow, including their newest branch at Burbank and Bluebonnet. We've been serving the people of Southern Louisiana for over 50 years. At United Community Bank, your business is our business, so we support the hardworking folks behind local business. So all the way from initial startup loans to ongoing planning and assessments. United Community Bank is here for you. Stop on by and see our great team of bankers, Prentice Wilkes, Heath Meir, Nicole Glover, Hunter Creed, David Campbell, David Henry at United Community Bank. Man, it's packed over here on Burger Day at Iverstein.
Live at Iverstein Butcher, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Consensus Golf Picks are brought to you by Dana Brown at the law offices of O.C. Brown.
All right, Max.
Yeah, interesting field this week at the AT&T Byron Nelson. We do have a few changes to the golf course. They spent about $25 million on renovating this course, making it a little more challenging, move some greens into some of the water features on the hole, so it'll play a little harder than the 31 under we saw last year. I got a lot of things wrong last week, including the winning score, but I feel comfortable saying 31 under will not get there this week, even though Scheffler won by 8 last year. Scheffler is in the field. You heard Wes mention it. He's plus 175, and that makes things interesting because there's such a gap between everyone else. If you're fifth favorite right now, there's a big tie for fifth favorite, Pearson Coody, Michael Thorbjornsen. You're 40-1, so you're the fifth guy in the field, and you're already down at 40-1. It's kind of hard to build a card unless you build one of the top guys, or you can just throw a bunch of long shots. But I am going to start with Jordan Spieth.
I knew it.
17.5 to 1.
I wish I could have bet on that.
Plus,
But you were gonna pick
if he's not
Spieth.
betting him, this I'll share something with you, Max. There's no doubt, and I'll have a little money on. There's nobody that's played this course as much as he has.
Yeah,
and he is. I had some friends over there that talked about him a lot, played golf with him a lot, way before he even turned pro. So back in the pre-college, pre-Texas days. So there's nobody that's played this course.
McKinney, right side out of Dallas, where Spieth is currently residing, and he's played this course 4 times. He missed the cut once, but the other finishes were top 10s. Finished runner-up in 2022, 4th last year, 9th in 2021. And the thing is, he's playing really good golf right now. I know we're kind of joking a little bit in jest about how much he's trending, but he's got top 20 starts in 6 of his last 10. He's playing good. He's just got to find the putter, but he's much more familiar with this golf course. So I think he can find ways to get there. And he's just clearly one of the top 3 players in this field. It's him, Siwoo, and Scotty. So if Scotty doesn't get the putter going, which we saw him struggle last week, then I think Spieth absolutely has a chance. So $17.50 is, I think, a fair price on Jordan Spieth to finally break through first time and get a victory for the first time in 3 years. Then I'm going to go with a bunch of bombs. I'm not going in the without Scheffler markets like Wes is. I'm just going to go with Scheffler and hope for the best here. Max Grazerman, 66-1. He finished 14th last week at the PGA Championship. Can get things going with his irons. Has tend to play better on easier courses where he can go make birdies. He tends to be a good putter, so maybe he can roll some in. Max Grazerman, 66-1. Blades Brown, 80-1, the young guy. I think he's 18 years old still, but he's got 2 top 10s this year on the PGA Tour. Granted, those are alternate field events where the fields are not great. The field's not great this week, but there is Scotty Scheffler. It is Jordan Spieth. So it would be a big breakthrough for him, but he's been playing well in the Korn Ferry Tour starts that he's been involved in. Austin Eckroat, 92-1. You heard Wes mention him earlier. Top 20s in his last 3 starts. I tend to play him a lot. He's won me some money with a couple of victories over the years. Good iron player. He's from this area. And he went to Oklahoma State, I believe, but I believe he's from Texas. So Austin Eckroat, 92-1, would be familiar with this type of golf course. And then some real long shots here. Carl Phillips, 180-1. He's 3rd in the field on strokes gained easy golf courses, so he tends to light it up when birdies are very much a factor. And while I do think it's going to play harder this year, especially with the new greens, so we're going to see firmer greens. So I don't think you're going to see as many birdies, but still I think that favors Carl Phillips. He's worth the long shot at 180. And then a couple guys over 201. Mark Hubbard, 200-1. He finished runner-up in his last start at the Myrtle Beach Classic. Again, another alt field event. And then Chandler Blanchet. I've been playing him a lot. He makes a ton of birdies. I think he's probably a good first-round leader play as well. But Chandler Blanchet, 225-1. He's gained on approach in his last 5 starts, and he makes enough birdies to where maybe he can get to the winning score when all is said and done.
Eckroat's a homegrown boy, Cowboy, Oklahoma State. So he's from the state of Oklahoma, which is a neighboring state. So it's
similar
right
type of golf. Yeah.
Jordan Spieth has played close to 104 times on this course, and 4 times. Trust me.
Sure. Yeah. 4 events.
Now they haven't
played,
been. How much different does the course play? For this event. As opposed to just going out there.
It'll change, and again, it's changed a little bit. They've changed the venue. They've added some bunkers, moved some stuff around. The greens will be firmer, so sometimes that can be a detriment if they change things and you're used to it being a certain way. But ultimately, I think he's got enough familiarity with this type of golf. They also moved it up later in the season. It's about 6 weeks later than it was last year, so it's bent grass greens, which is different than what we had before, which might make putting a little bit more intriguing this week. But one of the things is, it's crammed the schedule. Spieth's played a lot over the last few weeks. He's not really skipped any events like we saw Rory and Scotty skip the signatures. He's having to play right now, Spieth, because he's got to get all the points he can by the end of the year. So I think he's actually going to take next week off at Colonial, which is an interesting spot that he normally plays in. But I think this is now his 5th straight week playing. So that's the one thing. Hopefully fatigue doesn't catch up to him.
Familiar. I mean, there's not a course he's more familiar with and more comfortable with than this one, no doubt. How many times has he won here?
He has not won at this
really?
event, the Byron Nelson. No, he's won the Byron Nelson event, but not at this golf course.
Oh, okay.
So he's familiar with this area, but this specific TPC Craig Ranch, a little bit different. He's like I said, runner-up, three top 10 finishes, and in 4 starts at this event, at this golf course. So we do have one consensus this week.
Who is it?
Austin Eckroat. You can go whichever way you want to go. Wes Reynolds went with without Scheffler markets. You can find him at 59-1 at the DraftKings Sportsbook over at Bally's. So 59-1 without Scheffler, or you can take Austin Eckroat at 92-1 with Scheffler. So whichever preference you have, that's where I'm going. I'm going with Scheffler, but without Scheffler, I'd certainly understand it, considering Scheffler's been knocking at the door. He's only got 1 win this year, but it was at a birdie fest at the American Express.
All right, consensus golf picks brought to you by our friends Dana Brown at the law offices of O.C. Brown, your law firm for a lifetime, 343-1111 and ocbrown.com. You're in an accident, man, you got to get doctor's appointments. Who's going to pay for the doctor bills? Who's going to negotiate with the insurance companies? Man, you talk about pain. Not only is it pain, but also you're not going to get the proper negotiation that you will through Dana's specialized team of attorneys. So handles everything for you. Handles everything along the way. If you're in an accident, give them a call, 343-1111. You can also set up that initial consultation online at the law offices of O.C. Brown. That's ocbrown.com. Dana Brown at the law offices of O.C. Brown, our law firm for a lifetime, 343-1111 and ocbrown.com.
And now for a moment, if we could talk just a second about one of our favorite topics, scheduling. You ready for this one? LSU basketball next year. Wanted to see them beef up that schedule a little bit, right?
Yeah.
How about a game with Houston?
That's better.
CBS is reporting that LSU and Houston are finalizing an agreement to meet next year in the Toyota Center.
Okay.
This follows along with, and in fairness, they did play a game at the Smoothie King last year against SMU, so they've done this, recently as well. But Will Wade, remember, he always wanted to play a game in an NBA arena, just to kind of simulate the first round of the NCAA tournament, playing in bigger venues than most of the college arenas. So you get a twofer here. Or actually, you get more than a twofer. You get a great opponent. You get an NBA arena. You're not playing them on campus. You're playing them in the Toyota Center. And you get a place where it's a pretty easy jaunt for LSU fans from Louisiana and, of course, a huge alumni base.
Seems like Kelvin Sampson not listening to Jeff Goodman. I heard one of the recommendations he had is that coaches should not allow him to not schedule Wade, so he has a terrible non-conference schedule, and that's the way to punish him. And look, I agree with Jeff Goodman on a lot of things in this regard. I think it's a joke that they're going to try to bring in R.J. Lewis.
I mean,
but
who's going to listen to it? I mean,
he's
going to dictate.
Well, his thing is, look, all the coaches don't like Will Wade. Okay, whatever. If that's your thing. But how do we get at him? That was his argument, was you don't schedule him. If you're a good coach, you don't schedule him in a non-conference. But Kelvin Sampson says, no, that's a joke. We're gonna play good teams here. And so
you want a coach that other coaches don't like, or that other coaches don't even care if they exist.
They love
like
it. They wish he stays.
Yeah.
We've been through this 100 times.
But
he's not part of that fraternity of ex-players. That's my opinion.
Well, Goodman's supposed to be just hey, man, if you want to argue with him trying to get the guy eligible, man, that's easy pickings. Go ahead. But man, you're taking yourself a little bit too seriously now. I mean, you're gonna influence. I mean, really, basketball coaches gonna listen to you on your scheduling. To get over yourself.
He wasn't as mad about some of these other cases. Scott Drew. He wasn't as vocal about how terrible it was for basketball.
No,
and look, I think it is bad for basketball what we're doing here. But ultimately, look, people were upset with with Nate Oates. Let's be fair here. It's not like this.
We
is
were.
just,
I was upset with
It's
Nate
not like
Oates.
Will
I
Wade
didn't like
is
it.
excluded,
Okay.
and so he's following that. So I think we have to be consistent here. It's
What was you going to group all of our takes were the same when Nate Oates did that?
Well, I think your case. I'm not going to group everyone together. I think most of the national media was
Charlie
against
said that when he prefaced, when he says, I slammed Oates for this before. That's not what I did.
It's not what he did. It's not. I remember what you said because I thought
take
it
your
was
damn
great.
swing.
He's doing what
take your swing.
He's doing what he's allowed to do.
Until I lose.
Yeah.
Until somebody loses against the NCAA.
I do remember you saying that.
Yeah.
You did.
So. Yeah,
and that's kind of what I think Wade's doing here. Is like, look, I don't want to. I'm going to use the term again. Imaginary rules. Okay, is this a rule? Well, Bediako got on the court for 5 games. I don't know if another judge handles this. If he would have been on the court for more.
LSU Houston, and the calendar.
They have not set a date.
Because I think it matters what kind of crowd you're going to draw.
I would guess December, but I don't. They didn't.
Probably, yeah. You can't do it, but maybe December would be better. I mean, but you know, look where they play their home on campus at the Fertitta Center. It holds 7,100. So this is more 20,000 in the 20,000 range. So hopefully you have some excitement to where they'll have more than 7,100 that will attend as well.
Yeah. Live at Iverstein Butcher here on Perkins, just shy of Essen. Live at lunch. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny.
I return here at Iverstein Butcher on Perkins, just shy of S. And Jimmy, the Memorial Day, a few days away. Come over here, get yourself set up.
Yeah, the hot dogs, man, are a big hit. I mean, we got them over here. We ate one. We split up the Chicago-style dog with the homemade pickles and the peppers, and the cheese is inside of the hot dog as well. And so you talk about the really, really good stuff. Plate lunches over here this week today as well. And, man, every Wednesday is Burger Day, $5 Burger Day. So it's very, very busy over here at Iverstein. So don't forget that. Again, hot dogs, the Memorial Day weekend, kick off the summer with our homemade hot dog Frank's made here in-house with the butchers with pastured pork and grass-fed beef. Chili cheese dog, the slaw dog, and a classily dressed Chicago dog running all summer long. So, and look, come in the butcher shop and get from Memorial Day cookouts, not just hot dogs, but fresh cut chops, steaks, steak burger patties, homemade sausages, the Nacho Libre, Charlie. Tastes like nachos.
Nice.
Nacho, yes, everything over here. You got a little bit of something, and also Father's Day just around the corner. They could do a great gift package for you.
All right, as we get you up to date on what's going on, Mississippi State eliminated Missouri, 7-inning run rule, 12-2. So Missouri's season is over at 24-31. Game 2 at the SEC tournament is just underway. Vanderbilt did not score in the top of the first. They'll go to the bottom half. Florida throwing Aiden King, yesterday named SEC Pitcher of the Year. Tyler Baird, who is 0-5 for Vandy with a 4.81 ERA, is on the mound for the Commodores. Later this afternoon, Tennessee and Arkansas. Arkansas is throwing an opener in Tate McGuire, who's 1-0 with a 4.61 ERA. Tennessee throwing one of their weekend starters, Evan Blanco, 7-3, 4.56 ERA in 14 starts this season. And then LSU and Auburn tonight. Tigers going to throw Kason Evans. We'll see how long that he can go. Pitched a little bit, pitched 41 pitches on Friday night in anticipation of going in this tournament. And Jake Marciano, who is the starter with the best ERA for Auburn, 2.74 ERA, 14 starts, 75 innings this season, 96 strikeouts and 16 walks. Be interesting, Jimmy, to see how long Bush Thompson goes with him. We've seen for these teams, and I think Auburn's got a top 8 national seed locked up. They throw their ace out there, but they put him on a pitch count. LSU did this with Cade Anderson and Anthony Ianson last year, keep him at about 50, 60 pitches or so. Did it with Skeens, yeah. Mm-hmm. I could see Marciano go out there for about 60 pitches or so, and call it a night.
75 range.
Yeah.
Remember it was at Skeens, the lefty from Arkansas, that one?
Yeah.
They both went about 75. I think about 75.
Yeah. Because you figure he would start he'll start game 1 or 2. Auburn's got two guys at the top of their rotation, kind of equal.
Right.
I think Andreas Alvarez is really, really good. His ERA is a little higher. So that's what's coming up the rest of the afternoon. Thanks to the folks here at Iverstein Butcher for being our host here today as we anticipate Memorial Day. Tomorrow, we'll be back at the original Walk-Ons Burbank at Nicholson. Hope you can make it in your plans to join us there. For Max, for Jimmy, for Jordan back in the studio, I'm Charles Hanniger saying thank you and good afternoon from Iverstein. Stay tuned for Hunt Palmer, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.